we're just so different. Like, other than the fact that we like drawing and talking about anime, like, as time went on, we just grew apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really, like, even being friends, it was kind of like I found him annoying as a friend. So that's why it was easier to fall back into that, like, that past relationship where it's like
because
kind
it
of a
was
physical thing as opposed to
more
like an
familiar.
emotional thing.
Gotcha.
So then it was just like, I was like, this, I'm doing myself and you a disservice, and we're both not happy with this. And, you know, it's not fair for me either
Mhm.
because of what you've done. And I'm not treating myself with any respect by doing this with you.
Mhm.
So it was like, in the end, we're like, okay, we're just not going to be able to talk with each other. And I'm like, a few times we talk, like, over, when Christmas happened, like, he called and, you know, like, Skyped me, and I was like, I didn't realize he would want to talk, so I didn't talk to him back. But then, like, talked to him again afterwards, and we're cool for a little bit, but then, like, it was just, like, got to talking about things we didn't really want to be talking about.
Mm.
So it was like, you know what, I think we just can't do this friend thing, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's over.
No, I totally agree. Like, for me, the whole thing was like, my big thing was like when I came back from Santa Cruz, I basically made like a pact with myself. I was like, no, I'm moving back from Santa Cruz, and I am not like, there are just a bunch of things that I'm not going to do, and like that was one of them. And like, I couldn't believe it because this girl that I broke up with when I was in college, and like, probably we weren't dating, probably things went on, I don't know, probably by the end of my sophomore year, it was like, no, this is not, we're not, whatever,
Yeah.
and stuff, like, because, you know, it was like one of those things, it was like, you know, like, she cheated, and then I was like, oh, but, you know, like, she's young, and like, she still really cares about me, and like, she was, you know, a moment of weakness, like, whatever, and it's like, you know, totally trying to justify whatever and stuff, and it's like, it's not really, you know, and stuff, like, same old shit and stuff,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, is that, right? Just this past Valentine's Day, she sent me a card.
Oh no, that's just,
And it was just like, what the fuck? Like,
that's
hey,
so
I was
messed
just
up.
thinking about you and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and stuff. So, you know, it's just like, are you kidding me? I've, like, had another girlfriend in between, and like, anyway, I just, so.
Trying to rekindle something that shouldn't be, right?
Oh, yeah, you know, and stuff. And I mean, and so, I mean, luckily it's like, we're completely over that person, so, it doesn't really matter, but it just, I don't know, I guess it just became really obvious to me when it was like, we haven't talked to each other in, at this point, years, so why would you send me this? Like, you know, like, you know, you tried to call me once last year and I didn't pick up. Like, yeah, that's, you know, but I know what that's like, I don't know. Just,
Yeah. It's hard because, like, you know, when you've, I don't know, like, I'm sure you feel the same way with the girl you're with from high school. It's like, kind of get with somebody for so long, they kind of become your best friend and kind of like almost an extension of yourself. Not like you're that close that, you know, you're like, you can't live without them, but it's like when something messy like that ends that way, you're still like thinking, there's still kind of like a family member that you're like, when you see him, you're like, oh yeah, I could talk to them, it's cool. But then you realize the situation you're in, you really, you know, the best thing to do is really to cut the person out 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's sort of, for me, it felt like cutting off a part of myself because so much of my identity was formed around the things we did together and like, and then that of course is like a huge learning thing about relationships for me because I realized I can't build my relationships with people by defining myself with what they do and what we do together. I have to be my own person and define myself with what I do and myself alone.
Right.
Because if I'm not like a well-formed person, then I can't be with somebody else and expect that relationship to work because then either one of us will become dependent on each other,
Mhm.
you know? So that's really where I started to break apart, like from that, like those feelings of like still wanting to go back because I'm like, you know what, I need to spend more time thinking about myself rather than this other person, which is refreshing. It's nice, but then there's still times where I'm like, you know, there's still something about the closeness I felt that I do miss, but it's not like I want to go back to that relationship. It's just that like, that really sucked. You put so much time into something, you really wish that
Yeah.
it wouldn't just be like, the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing too, is like, yeah, you feel like you invested just a ton emotionally, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is like, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, and then the other thing too that I always kind of, not always, but, kind of gripe with is like, well, there's certain things that were like really fun or nice or like whatever, and it's like, but is that something that like I now can't do because I did that with that person? Or is it like, well, I don't know, does it make sense?
Oh, you mean like things that like you would probably usually only do with that person, and then now that you're not with that person anymore, you're wondering if that is right to be doing with somebody else, like a special movie place that only you and the other person shared or something like that?
Kind of, or like a restaurant that like,
Yeah.
that like, it's like, you found it and it was a really good restaurant and stuff, and it was, but it's like, it's not somewhere that you would just go with like your friends.
Right.
It's like, and stuff, and so it's like, well, if you take somebody else there, is that now, are you trying to like place them like in this kind of trying to like make them that other person, or or I don't know, or is it somehow like tainted,
Yeah, it's like it's a one thing that reminds you of that other person, and you don't feel comfortable with that, like.
Yeah, and stuff, and it's like, or you're like, oh well, you could do this, and then you could just like not say anything, but you would know, and stuff, so but then it's like, well, but then on the other hand, it's like, but I really like that place, or I really like, whatever, and so like, I don't know, and stuff.
Yeah.
That conundrum.
There's definitely like things I have that are kind of like that, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? This is again that whole like me forming myself, my identity to another person, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this person dictate and run my life and my thoughts. And
especially when they're not in it anymore.
Yeah,
right?
and they, it's like, why am I still thinking about you? Fuck that, And so, like, for instance, you might eventually see me yo-yo, and I yo-yo. It's kind of a thing that I picked up from my ex, but
You have
I
one of
actually
those giant ones, one of the giant yo-yos that would
no,
forever.
no, but those are pretty cool. My ex was really into like trick yo-yoing.
Okay.
He was pretty good. He got pretty good at the end, but I was through, osmosis. I got into it, and although like I still every now and then take it out and play with it, and of course like when we first broke up, I was like, oh, this is something like him and I did, meh. But now it's just like, oh, well, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing to do, and I have the yo-yos and stuff, and I know enough about it to like.
Well, that's kind of like, I remember you were asking, like, why didn't I ever tell you about, like, having the Disneyland passport thing?
Oh.
That's because that was my
that
birthday present from my last girlfriend and stuff. And it was like, we'd go there, and like, because that was like a really special place to her.
Yeah.
And like me, like, Disneyland to me is like, my really fond memories of Disneyland are like in high school, a bunch of my friends worked there. So it was like, rolling into Disneyland at like 10:30 at night when they close at 11, getting like passed into the park, and then like, hit up 3 rides before they close, and then wait for our friends in downtown Disney, to get off work, and then we'd all like ride the workers shuttle to the parking lot and stuff, and then get a ride, from them or whatever. And like that's the kind of Disneyland that I know, and stuff. Like, I don't like the crowds at Disneyland. I don't like, like, I like going on like an off day or something, and stuff. And like, I enjoy the rides, but that's part of like, I haven't gone back since we broke up because, well, part of it is just I didn't, part of it was like she was doing the payment thing, and I was like too embarrassed to like go with a bunch of friends and then find out maybe she didn't actually pay it and stuff. And it's like, no, well, she has to. She's sort of locked into it, but
Yeah.
you know, like I don't want to like then have to explain to everyone. Well, it's not really my pass. Like my name's on it, but like I can't do. Like I couldn't even. They wouldn't even accept money from me if like it's like, oh, the pass hasn't been paid. Like I couldn't even pay for it.
Oh, it has to be like through
It
that.
has to be that person. Like
Mm.
you know, because like that happened once, and I was like, oh well, whatever. I'll you know, I'll just go to the ATM and. Oh no, I was just gonna put it on my credit card. And they're like, well, you can't be you. She has to pay it, and she like didn't have any way to pay it. So I was like, well, just go to an ATM and get money, and then gave it to her, and then she paid it. But it was like, so that's part of why I didn't really bring that one up.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, that's kind of a really convenient thing to have because that's always something to do.
Yeah,
But I
and I don't mind
understand.
if you wanna like sometime go to Disneyland. That's totally fine. I just it took me a little bit of time to come to grips that it's like no, I can go there, and like it's not gonna be weird.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, and they have really good pretzels there.
You know what I love there? Turkey leg.
Turkey leg. I don't think I've ever had turkey leg there.
Oh my god. You are a man of meat, right?
Yes,
You're gonna love that
love
turkey leg.
the meat.
Love. These turkey legs are this big.
Really?
And it's $8. And if you're hungry, you just eat that. It's probably terrible for you, but I
and
gnawed
turkey.
on one for about an hour and a half.
Really?
So I really want to go. I mean, I'm not like that much of a fan of Disneyland, but I still enjoy the rides.
Mhm.
I'm finding an excuse to finance myself a pass.
Aha.
Or maybe just go. I actually have a few free complimentary passes too.
Ah.
But
See, I've got the parking, which is like a big deal. You know.
yeah, because that saves you.
Yeah, I have the parking and no blackout days. So,
Nice. That's like the premium pass.
yeah, it's the special one.
Well, I mean, if you ever want to go one day, fun thing to do on a random weekend.
Yeah.
Not many people can do that.
Yeah. No. Totally. And what's great is if we take the green truck, get oversized parking.
Are the spaces bigger? Is that what that is?
It's right next to the tram.
Oh my god. Yes.
You know, I don't know. It doesn't always happen because the truck is actually technically short enough to still make it into the parking garage just fine.
But if you put your
But-
little antenna.
Oh, there you go. You know. But yeah.
Look, I'm doing the credits.
So you will be in there then, or did they tell you to do it?
They said that if I wanted credits, I should draw it in myself for. Well, no, it sounds like a dick thing, but you know, because it looks the. Yeah. No, it's because it would look consistent rather than like all of a sudden all these little hand drawn things and it's just like this special like nice text and it's a black screen.
Gotcha. Yes, we are listening to Madonna Die Another Day.
Nice.
The Deep Sky mix.
Look, you made it into the special thanks.
Oh, look at that.
L.
LSK. Wow, she got it right.
And your mom's name?
Deborah Knox. Oh, it's H at the end of A.
Let's start over. Editor, start over. Okay.
If they're listening to
Oh, I hope it shows up.
AH
K
NOX.
NOX.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. And we're done.
All right. Now we gotta transfer files.